Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm really glad we have quite a good turnout. We were expecting less than 50 to show up. So you all took the plunge and tried doing a webinar and a Zoom meeting. Congratulations, because that's a big step to do that. And as you know, we're going to have to be doing it this way for quite a while. So I'd like to welcome you to the 2020 OLLI General Meetings and Elections. This is our very first Zoom webinar. So be kind to us, and we'll be talking about the state of OLLI. I'm going to give you an overview of our presentation. This will be followed by our treasurer, Tom Toby, who will bring you up to date about OLLI's finances. And then we have updates from several people, starting with Pete Saputo, our VP of Facilities, who is in charge of patio renovations. He'll be followed by Ellie Monroe, who's VP of Programs, and she'll be talking about some of the kinds of programs we'll be having during the intersession and hopefully for the summer. And then Don Lake, who's the chair of our very important, at this point in time, the Distance Learning Committee. He'll be bringing you up to date about the activities of this committee. This will be followed by the election of our new members of the OLLI Board of Trustees, and Benson Chin, who's the chair of the Nominations and Elections Committee, will be introducing the candidates. He'll be followed by Phil Barnhart, our parliamentarian, who will lead us in the acclamation vote for the slate of candidates. I'll come back in with some closing remarks, and then we will open this up to questions and answers. So let me begin first of just giving you an overview of our year, the Board of Trustees' goals and accomplishments. Our goals have been molded by our long-range plan that started back in 2016 and will end this coming year. We'll start to work on our next 5-year plan in the coming fall 2020. At this point, OLLI's finances are in pretty good shape. We're self-supporting and we have a balanced budget, and you'll hear more about this later from Tom. In terms of programs, we still offer a number of programs, 120 plus. We've greatly expanded our distance learning capabilities, which is one of the major goals of our long-range plan. And as many of you know, we've had to deal with the loss of one of our classrooms for quite a while due to mold in RGC 9. In this plan, we also had a goal of increasing the diversity of OLLI membership, so they better reflected the members, the population in our service communities. We haven't quite reached that goal yet, but we have made attempts to educate members on diversity issues. And this is one of those kinds of goals I think that will occur over time. In terms of facilities, as you know, we completed the mold mitigation of RGC 9, and you'll hear from Pete later on about our plans for renovating the Shapiro patio, and these plans are in the works. We also have a new trolley on order that will replace one that has been malfunctioning. In terms of technology, we have increased our distance learning capabilities quite a bit by purchasing additional equipment and hiring some student personnel to help with the editing of the many videos that have been produced. There are plans afoot for upgrading the audiovisual system in Mackey Auditorium, and this is being done by conversations with Cal State Fullerton. Finally, I just want to point out that OLLI's collaboration with Cal State Fullerton is progressing. We could probably use more people to volunteer their services to help with this. And OLLI now has projects with all 8 colleges of Cal State Fullerton. But what a year this has been. I'm kind of waiting for the cloud of locusts coming in every time I look out our kitchen window. We started off the year with a severe campus parking shortage. And luckily, this was mitigated by the actions of the Parking Mitigation Committee led by a very able VP of Administration, Mike Stover. We have much to thank Mike for. We also have had a short staff. We've been short a staff member for all of the year. And we just learned, unfortunately, from Patsy that our recruiting efforts are still going to have to, are on hold for now, and will resume when Cal State Fullerton is back to some kind of a level of functioning. As you know, we have stepped up our activity of the Distance Learning Committee. We now have 140 plus actually videos that are available for you. We started this back in the summer of 2017 with only 3 videos. And as you can see, there's a huge increase between the summer of 2019 to the current spring of 2020. However, as you all know, we've been hit with this coronavirus pandemic, which has forced the closure of OLLI and the rest of the campus. However, thanks to the fact that we had increased the numbers of our videos that we had available because of the campus shortage, we now have quite a library of videos for you to watch, and we'll be increasing this as time goes on in the next couple of weeks and during the summer session. Those of you who have been watching these videos, this is just a snapshot of what occurred recently when the announcement of OLLI's programs, or OLLI being closed, occur. As you can see, OLLI members tend to watch our videos on Sundays for some reason. But you can see that there was a huge increase, over 100 hits of our distance learning web pages. So with this data, I'm confident that you will continue to access OLLI's programs, and this will help you in terms of maintaining your connection to OLLI and your lifelong learning aspirations. Okay, so I'm on the screen now where we're talking about the fact that we now have one of our biggest challenge ever, and at a time that we're supposed to be celebrating our 40th anniversary. And this led to the postponement of many of our events that had been planned. On March 12th, on the day that we made a decision to close OLLI, we were supposed to have had this wonderful reception and presentation that included over 200 participants had RSVP'd, and the presentation included a national OLLI spokesperson. Invited were some campus VIPs and several elected officials. We also had to postpone our April 5th gala that Ellie Monroe and her team had been working so hard for the volunteer recognition event. And many of you know that OLLI has had to cancel several scheduled trips, and this cancellation may still go on in the next couple of weeks. And worst of all, we've had to close OLLI and the Cal State Fullerton campus for a currently undetermined duration. Certainly it's going to be closed for a summer session because, as you all know, the CSU has closed all of their campuses except for virtual classes. But you know, OLLI members have persevered before, for example, in the parking mitigations. So I'm heartened by the fact that we have a good history of overcoming a lot of problems that we face. And in terms of parking mitigations, due to the actions of the committee and to you members, you partook of the increased trolley service. Many of you parked at the extended parking at the EV Free Church and used the expanded trolley service to get to and from OLLI. Some of you took advantage of the fact that we, for the first time, put out some parking spots for carpoolers, and you did that. But you know what? Most of you also walked from the outlying parks. And so as a result of this, probably this past year, we have the healthiest OLLI members we've ever had. And I'm seeing in the last couple of weeks since we closed, there's been a flurry of activity of all of us learning to use Zoom technology and trying to teach the rest of you how to use it. This will be our major means of continuing OLLI's programs in terms of learning, lifelong learning, socialization, and even exercise. So be sure that you stay tuned to these activities and open up your emails. OLLI will bounce back because we have a very capable leadership group. This is a picture of the OLLI board in the 2019-2020 year. And this was taken last May during our inauguration of all the new members. And I'd like to give a special thanks to this board because we had to work very hard this past year. I'm going to read this out because some of you are here without being able to see a video of what I'm presenting. Mike Stover, oh, by the way, The names that are in italics indicate the offices that are up for election today. So Mike Stover, VP of Administration, has been working super hard, as many of you know. Ellie Monroe, VP of Programs, with all the mold mitigation issues that we had this year, has been spreading her hair here. Chris Shaw, VP of Communication, especially because we need to be able to communicate with you, has been working especially hard too. David Maxwell, VP of Membership, has been calling some of our members who haven't been accessing their emails. Janice Jang, VP of External Outreach, has been continuing her work with Cal State Fullerton departments and schools. Pete Saputo, VP of Facilities. You haven't seen a lot of these things, but I hope you can see all the improvements that he's made around our facility. Elaine Mitchell, VP of Hospitality, and our hardworking committee, has been doing all kinds of things to make our lives a lot more hospitable. Jim Senemy, our departed VP of Technology, I miss him terribly, but we also have people coming in to take his place who are very, very capable. Tom Toby, our treasurer, and Sparks, our secretary. We also have trustees at large. There are Renee Cabrera, Ben Chin, Catherine Koza, Joanne Hardy, Linda Lockwood, Susan Mullally, Tony Package, Ari Pashir, and Bill Sampson. And a special thanks from me goes out to Jim Monroe, our immediate past president, who was also part of the board. And he's given me a lot of help in trying to maneuver this presidency. He's also our interim VP Technology, very versatile. And lastly, Phil Barnard, our parliamentarian, has been of great help in helping me run our OLLI meetings. So thank you all for helping with running OLLI this past year. So now I'd like to turn the podium over to Tom Toby, our treasurer, who will bring you up to date on OLLI's finances and budget. So Tom?
Yep, I'm here. Okay, well, welcome to OLLI, and I'll start with saying that all of our vice presidents do a good job of managing their budgets. The remainder of this fiscal year and next year will be difficult to project our cash flow, and that's due primarily to the impact of the COVID-19 virus. You can see that we still are optimistic. We think that this is going to be our best chance. We may not get there, but at this point, our expenses are less than income, so we will have some net gain. Okay, this is our capital plan. You will see that in the next fiscal year, we are going to have a huge capital expenditure. Pete Sapporo will give you further insight as to why that's so large. And then it will go back down in the ensuing next 2 years in a more reasonable fashion for us. Okay, membership dues. They cover 84% of our operating expenses. We generally try to get in this range of 84, and last year we planned about 87%. The remaining has to get paid for or covered by other means. So our total budgeted planned expense, as you can see, is $316 per member. Last year, where was it? Was 312. So we have a slight increase. Our annual membership dues have been increased by $5 to $265. It's the first increase in 3 years. And primarily, we tried to keep this as low as possible, but we've had a massive increase by the university for parking fees, and that increase has been about $12 per member, and we've only increased our dues by $5. So we're trying to hold the line as best we can. Okay. How we fund this, in addition to our membership fees, is that we have been able to make or gain a profit, if you want to call it that. And so we have been able to increase our reserve funds. Some of these numbers look large, but part of the reserve funds are mandated, partially by the state. All educational institutions, starting with elementary school, require that 10% of the a previous year's operating budget has to be put in a reserve. And we have reserves for some other things that depend on what the class is. So there are small reserves for, let's say, clay, for pottery. So I'm not sure how many people understand what an endowment is. It looks like a huge number, but realize that 2 million of it is a gift, and we're not allowed to spend the gift, but we can spend what we earn on it. So this is the reported market value. So we only have the 287,000, not the whole 2 million. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Pete Saputo, sorry, Pete, and he'll explain to you why there's such a big jump in our capital expenditures. It's yours, Pete.
Just a little update for what's happening at OLLI. I know we're not there today, or we won't be there for another perhaps month, but we have to think of the future. And the future rooms and the future spaces that we have for education and entertainment have all been used up. We have the addition of room 8 and room 9, which we didn't have in the past as part of our classroom series, but we're still renting rooms in Pine and other facilities around the campus that we're paying for. We haven't utilized the ABCD facility in Shapiro Wing for a long time. A CD is constantly in use for classes, but AB has been kind of a stepchild because we use that for many things. Most of it in even inclement weather or even in really nice weather. Part of the AB rooms are used for lunches and small meetings where people get together. Well, we have to look at other spaces that can be utilized for classrooms. And AB is a beautiful place to have an all-time classroom, an all-weather classroom. But to do that, the instructors would want to teach there. And instructors don't want to be interrupted all the time for people coming in for coffee and start talking, doing whatever, disrupting the class. But we have a little space out on our patio that can be used for a lunch facility, a small meeting room, place for people to go to have a cup of coffee or lunch or whatever. But it's not an all-weather space. To change it from its present place, can we go to a present picture of the patio as we see it today? There you go. That's what's happened today. We put this canopy up 12, 14 years ago, just to kind of take the sun out of the area so people can sit and have a cup of coffee once in a while. But it's really not an all-weather room. And we're storing a lot of things there, from clay manipulation tables to a cooker that we no longer use, the various items that are stored there. So this is kind of a catch-all space. But this is a great space to have, a little lunchroom and a facility for people to go between classes, waiting for classes, whatever. Just an all-weather meeting room. So let's go back to the first, there you go. This is the outside of what the new facility would look like. Again, this is the outside. I wanted the inside look as to what it could look like. This is the top view, a planned view of what the room would look like. We're looking at about a little over 500 square feet with storage. And we'll put tables, we can arrange tables in there however we want to facilitate people just kind of hanging around there. The area that we now get coffee and goodies out of, that's kind of an overhead door that comes down. That'll be changed to where you're seeing the cursor move right now. Now there's an interference spot with doors and things like that. This is not a final drawing of how it's going to look, but this is a concept drawing of how it could look. So we're talking about increasing that space to 520 square feet for usable space and another 30 feet, 60 feet for storage. The cost of doing this for demolition and construction is around $450 a square foot. And that is included in that 200 and some odd $1,000 expenditure for the 20 and 21 budget. So it'll run about $250,000 to $260,000 to renovate that space. But that's going to be offset by adding 2 classrooms, A, B. So those spaces will be available for us for scheduling classes all the time. Now, there's no other place we can do this too. I mean, there's no place to build except for this area to increase our classroom capabilities. So we won't have to pay as much for outside classrooms in different areas of the campus, and we can utilize the space that we have already. This is going to take place probably over the next 18 months, hopefully. I have been in contact with the facilities design people at Cal State Fullerton. They have come up with the conceptual drawings, as you see here, and they've selected an outside contractor, an architectural contractor, to come up with the working drawings and drawings that we can go out to bid for. So the budget that we see is just a kind of a worst case scenario. $450 a square foot seems like a lot of money, but of course we have to consider all the costs involved as far as putting this together. University takes part of it. The contractor that comes up with the drawings is going to take part of it. So all of these things come up to be around $450 a square foot at the present time. There's a lot of questions that people have. We'll kind of have to wait till the end of the presentation for that. I think that's about it. We have a panel, a committee that will look at how the room is going to look like and taking into consideration all the uses for it. That's all I have right now. And now we have Ellie Monroe, the VP of Programs, to tell you what's coming up. And she'll be able to utilize the new space, hopefully. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'd like to welcome all of you. I am thrilled to see 130 people here. I was very surprised when, and it keeps increasing. Okay, I want to thank everybody for being here again. And I'm going to especially thank my instructors and the coordinators. They have been so marvelous. I'm very thrilled at the fact that they've taken on this big task of learning a new tool in which to bring you a program that you can enjoy in your own home. I also like to thank Debbie and her 15 volunteers who have made the effort to call all of you that we have haven't been responding to our emails, and they've done an excellent job of being able to reach many of you. Okay, what we're learning about our instructions is they have been resilient, they have been creative in their approach to bringing you their classes. And there's so many factors that have to be consideration in doing a class. So I thank them for that. I'm going to give many, many, many thanks to our distance training, our distance learning team, who has been just working around the clock. And these people that are in this particular team are amazing. They've done a lot of hard work, and I've been working along with them, so I know how hard they're working. They're working harder than I am, I think. Anyway, but thank you guys, okay? I also want to thank the various committees and their members for working in concert to bring the classes to you, to basically continue with our meetings and everything else. It's been a joy working with all of you and getting to know you. And I want to remind all of you to be sure to attend the training classes that are being offered by our distance learning team. And you will be getting notices through OLLI News Bites of those training classes. So please, please, please open up your email, okay? What has been going on is because a lot of our classes are not coming back for this semester, okay, for the rest of this semester. We have developed a few new class offerings. One of them is going to be held on this Saturday, the 18th. I encourage all of you to attend. It starts at 10 o'clock, and it's going to be given by Sue Fisher. Now, Sue Fisher is our emergency preparedness manager here at the campus. And she's going to have lots of information to share with you about how to basically shelter in place, what you're going to need to know, how to deal with some of the emergencies that may be, that may happen to you, and also what to expect in the future. Okay. She also is going to provide us with what she calls a Let's Ask Sue. And it's going to be a presentation, not a presentation, but it's a question and answer session that she'll be doing on Fridays, starting at 2 o'clock, where you can Zoom in to that particular Zoom meeting, and she's going to answer all your questions. So it's not going to be a presentation, and that's a time for you to come and ask questions. The next presentation that we have scheduled will be for Tuesday, April 21st. And that presentation is going to be on the medical problems that we're facing at this time and how to cope with those. Dr. Cesario, who's from UC Irvine, is the infectious disease specialist out there who has been there forever. He's been the dean of the School of Music, the School of Medicine there. And so he is really looking forward to doing this particular presentation. He's going to leave lots of time for lots of questions and answers. Okay, our next special speaker is going to be here on April the 28th from 1 to 2, and that is our own Laura Zettel-Watson. She's from the Department of Psychology, and she's been recently published throughout the different newspapers and stuff. She's going to give you skills on how to take care of or coping with the social distancing and the social isolation that we are all facing right now. Okay, and so she too will have a question and answer period for you. And the next new class is given by our own Mike Stover, and that will be Resiliency, Surviving and Thriving During Shutdown. I encourage you to join Mike between 10 and 11 o'clock every Tuesday morning, starting on the 28th. He will give you basically a view of what's happening in the news, like he normally does, the current political issues, the current money issues, those kinds of things. And then more importantly, he's going to leave it open for you to ask questions or to share your experiences and things in helping others deal with some of the stuff we're dealing with right now. To complete our intercession period, which by the way goes from April through the end of May, Susan and Rick will bring you the other 3 segments of their Science for You in Evolution. They will continue that series at their normal regular time. The other one that's going to continue is the History of Impressionism, and again, that's going to be on Tuesday, so look for your news bites. And Death Cafe will be then going forward with Fritz, and he'll basically be in charge of that. Remember that in news bites, you will get the link for you to be able to Zoom directly into these classes, so be sure to open your news bites. Thank you. We had a challenge in getting some of the classes together because a lot of new technology for a lot of our members, okay? A lot of our instructors, I should say, and coordinators. Unfortunately, there are going to be some classes that we cannot carry. They will not be user-friendly in what needs to happen for them to continue some of the classes. So classes like ceramics, classes like, right now it's bridge, unless they can come up with a solution, are going to be impacted. Most of our health classes will also be disrupted. So I want to let you know that those are unfortunately not going to be available. We do have almost 50% of our curriculum that's going to be presented from different areas and stuff. And we also are going to try and come up with some new presentations and classes. One of the ones that I'm adding on that wasn't in your blue book will be the history of rock and roll. I decided I was going to utilize the slot that I normally reserve for one of my other classes and utilize that slot to bring that to you, and that will start from the very beginning. So for those of you that could never attend that class, this is your opportunity. It will be Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Another class that I'm going to be presenting is called Brain Games, and it's a bunch of little small half-hour venues that are going to show how your mind interprets what they see, what it feels, what you touch, what you taste, what you smell. So I'm hoping that gives you enough curiosity to bring you into that class. Anyway, we are going to continue being as creative as we can to bring you more and more classes during the summer to fill in the gaps that unfortunately we are not going to be able to bring you because of the issues that have to do with some of the problems with getting that to you through Zoom. Okay, I think I am finished. I'm going to now introduce Dawn Lake, who is in charge of our distance learning committee. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ellie, and hi, everybody. As the chair of the Distance Learning Committee, I'm doing this presentation, but I really need to introduce you to the team that's been working on all the distance learning aspects at OLLI, and you've seen them around. Bob Newcomb is going to be the incoming VP of Technology, and Bill Riley are so it's the three of us that have been putting together the distance learning programs that you've been able to watch in an archival mode, and also be able to hopefully start participating in some of the Zoom conference rooms. Okay, we started out 2.5 years ago, the summer of 2017. We did 3 programs, basically Mike Stover's programs on the presidency, and these were pilot programs. We purchased video equipment and basically did the programs. Bob took the programs and did the editing, and those programs were placed on the archive for distribution over the OLLI website. Since then, we have hired 4 students. We have 2 students now. 2 of our students graduated and left us, so we still have 2 students working for us, and they have been working with Bob on all of the editing that needs to take place before we're comfortable that these programs are ready for prime time and to be placed in the archival collection. Our archival collection now exceeds 140 programs, and I was real pleased to see that people have started to access them a lot more. They're very easy to access on the OLLI website. And once you get on that website, you can see that you can get the programs by semesters when they were delivered. You can get them by listed categories. If you want to see just the programs for eclectics, you can click on eclectics, and it'll bring up just the eclectics programs. And you can also get the programs listed alphabetically. So we've tried to make it very user-friendly for you to come in and access these archived programs. And just so you know, we will continue to archive programs. In fact, even though we've shifted into the online Zoom mode of delivery, several of those programs will also are being recorded, and they will be taped and placed into this archive collection as well. So Cal State University has shifted over to using Zoom for their meetings and virtual classes. And all of us as senior citizens got told that we couldn't appear on campus anymore. So we're also using Zoom to deliver our programs. And we have launched a very ambitious effort with Bill and Bob leading the charge on the technology side to develop the attributes of Zoom that can then be, so we can successfully deliver our programs for this intersession period, also for the summer, the remainder of the summer and on into the fall. We have planned intersession trials in preparation for our summer and fall, and those, we have several programs. Ellie alluded to several of them that are going to be delivered in a Zoom format. And we have also developed a training program, and the training sessions for OLLI members have been set up. Not all of them, but we've got the first 3 training sessions. We've sent out a message to OLLI members asking if anybody wanted to be involved in training for either being a participant of Zoom or being a moderator for Zoom programs, or to learn how to be an instructor in the Zoom environment. And we're setting up training sessions during the intersession, and we'll assist them with that. And we have a session tomorrow. We have 2 more sessions next week. And so as Ellie pointed out, we're on kind of a fast fast learning curve here to get all of this stuff done and ready for our classes to be delivered. So I'm very appreciative of the volunteer moderators. I have a list of over 40 people who actually signed up to become brave enough to sign up to be volunteer moderators for our Zoom programs. And so we're going to be training those folks as well. So it's an ambitious program. We're very excited about it, and we think it's going to make a huge difference in terms of delivering our programs effectively via the Zoom technology for the coming semesters. So again, I said, we're going to record them also as before, and we'll post onto the OLLI website. We're going to be trying some live streaming of classes via YouTube. And so that's, we've got some equipment. They're going to be beta testing that when the classes resume. So we're going to allow both on-site and remote classes. When you come back, and hopefully when this horrible virus pandemic ends, that we'll be able to come back on site and be able to walk around. But in addition, I think it's the whole pandemic will have changed things for us. So we'll be delivering programs on site, of course, but in addition to that, we will be providing remote classes using Zoom technology, using the flexibility we have to stream programs. And so it's given us an opportunity to explore and expand on a lot of technologies that will give you the flexibility to be able to access our programs in a variety of different ways. Okay, I'm going to introduce you now to Benson Chin, who's the chair of Nomination and Elections Committee, and Phil Barnard, the parliamentarian, and they're going to talk to you about the election process. So Benson and Phil.
Well, thank you, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon. I want to give you just a very, very brief overview of the Nomination and Elections Committee. As outlined in the OLLI Constitution and the bylaws, the Nomination and Elections Committee was formed in October of 2019 to manage the spring election for 2020. The committee serves independently as a standing committee whose functions and procedures are outlined in detail in the Constitution and the bylaws. Per the bylaws, the committee consists of 6 voting members. For the 2020 Spring Nomination and Elections Committee, the members are the immediate past president, Jim Monroe, 2 members from the current Board of Trustees, Ellie Monroe and Phil Barnhart, and 2 members representing the general OLLI membership, and myself as chair, or the membership, 2 representatives from the general membership, which are Ari Bashir and Vicky Height. Vicky Height later had to resign in order to pursue an open position. And of course, myself as chairperson for the committee. Additionally, I'd like to mention also that Phil also acted as the parliamentarian on the committee. Per the OLLI Constitution and bylaws, all applications were received and reviewed. They were vetted, and they were subsequently voted upon by the committee, resulting in a single slate of nominees that we present to you today. The nominees are Joyce Ono for president, Mike Stover for VP of Administration, Ginger Barnhart, VP of Communications, Susan Manali for VP of External Relations, Bob Newcomb for Vice President of Technology, and Ann Sparks for Secretary, Renee Cabrera for Trustee, Vicky Height as Trustee, and Janice Jung for Trustee, as well as Cynthia Owens. Per the OLLI Constitution and bylaws, when there is only 1 nominee for each position, the Constitution and bylaw allows for a single vote by acclamation for the entire slate of nominees. So I turn the voting procedure over to Phil, who will make the motion to accept the slate of nominees by acclamation. Phil?
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to accept the slate presented by Ben for the following year. Do I have a motion?
So moved. This is Jim Monroe.
Do I have a second?
This is Tom Toby, treasurer. I
Very
approve.
good. Now, here's the fun part. We're going to do this in sort of stages. For those of you who are on the webcam, if you would say aye and raise your hand, I would appreciate it at this time.
Okay, so Phil, I think we're done with the voting. The majority
Okay.
have voted.
Very good. Therefore, we have our new officers, trustees for next year. I wish you all well and look forward to seeing you in the next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone, for participating in our first online voting. A little few glitches, but we'll get there.
Okay, we had a question from
We had quite
Ari
a number.
Bashir related to the auditorium audio video. He asked if that was included in the capital plan. Since I'm VP Technology, I will assure him that the OLLI portion of the shared audio visual for Mackey is in the capital plan. And I believe there are continuing discussions with the campus over the plans for upgrading Mackey.
Yeah, but that hasn't come, we haven't made a complete decision on that.
We haven't made a decision on anything in the capital plan I
Right.
think is a correct statement, but it's a plan and it's the dollars are allocated in there for that.
Right, right.
Okay, and then Pete, for you, one of the questions on the RGC edition, it said, shouldn't it have a ramp instead of stairs? That's from Cheryl Stewart.
Actually, it's going to mimic what we have today. And that will be stairs on the exterior because that's not a viable fire exit. The fire exit out of that room is into the hallway as it is today, and it will be the same as it is. I mean, that's not planned as a viable exit. But we can have a ramp there if we design it in, but we haven't come up to the full aspect yet.
That entryway is not a major entry into the patio.
No, and it won't be. That is there to facilitate deliveries and things like that.
Right.
And Pete, another question, and perhaps for you, Joyce,
Yeah,
from Will Cornell. Over the years, I have heard that OLLI is likely to be taken out of its current location and put elsewhere on campus. Is there any probability of this happening? And if so, do we really want to spend capital on changes to the existing facilities?
Yeah, well, this is something that came up before we made the decision to do some renovations. We were assured with this last go around of the campus master plan that RGC would not be touched, at least for the next master plan, for the upcoming master plan. So on that basis, we decided to do these kinds of renovations.
Yeah, and the master plan is a 10-year plan. So, and we're not included with any construction
Right.
Right now. And if the new master plan does have something allocated for this space, that won't happen until 5 years into that plan, probably. So we're talking about 15 years worth of usage for that area.
Okay, and Joanne Hardy has a vote. Joanne is asking, when do the new officers take over from the older ones? She currently is an officer. This will occur on May 15th or so. I forgot the exact date, but when we have our next board meeting.
Yeah, at the next board meeting.
Oh, we got one from Ken Luke. This is for Tom Toby. You showed a per member expense of $316. What number of memberships are you using? Is this a forward or backward looking number?
Our membership is predicted to be flat, so we will have the same members planned for the upcoming year, and that number is 1,575.
Okay. Despite a lot of the negatives that we have about our current situation, I really believe that a lot of positives will come up from this, and you heard some of it from Don Lake, that in the future we'll be better prepared for any emergency and crisis, because OLLI is now developing plans for crisis management. And in our 2016-2021 plan, which called for increasing our distance learning program, we have greatly increased that capability, and just in time, because Otherwise, we would not have as many of these videos that we can now partake now that we have extra time to do so. And as Ellie pointed out, there'll be additional classes coming up. Many of them will be videoed, but you can also attend them live. And since our emails are a major form of communication, and we've been learning that only about 60% of you access your emails. So there's a 40% population of OLLI members who do not open up their emails. And this is going to be our major form of communication to provide you with the links to various classes. So please, please open up your emails. Now in the fall, we'll start to work on our 2022-2027 5-year plan. And I invite those of you who have experience in doing strategic plans and have some ideas that you'd like to see in OLLI to come and participate in this process. And in closing, you know, we're going, OLLI as well as the rest of the country is going through, well, the rest of the world are going through a horrendous situation that has been, is very historic in our generation to experience. But I think we'll emerge with a greater sense of unity. We all have to work together because everybody's in this together. And I think we'll be stronger for it. And so in the coming months, weeks and months for OLLI, we expect a lot of droppage of our membership because we can't do the usual things we normally do. I'm hoping that many of you will hang in there, support OLLI, so when we do come back, we're not in a devastated situation financially, and that we will continue to be able to provide the kinds of programs that you have been enjoying. And in addition, I think we're doing things in the distance learning things that we had wanted to do for over a decade. All of us someday are not going to be able to get to OLLI physically. And now that we learn to practice how to get into classes, et cetera, that are open to us through technology, we can start doing this now. We'll be better prepared for the future. So at this point, I'd like to adjourn our meeting. And
another question about security. I don't know if about Zoom security is Dawn.
Oh, okay. Say that again. Did you want to say something?
Someone posed a question about Zoom security because, you know, there's been a controversy over people who are not invited to meetings, inviting themselves and then creating a disruption. We're fortunate in the sense, well, number one, Zoom is addressing these issues. And number two, we're fortunate that the Cal State campus is using Zoom. And so they're working closely with Zoom folks to alleviate any security issues there might be. And the other thing is Zoom, we've been told that there's some things that you can do to alleviate any possibility of an intruder coming into your meetings. One is we've set up where it's automatic, where you don't just come into a Zoom meeting, you come into a waiting room. And then it's up to the moderator or the instructor to allow you into the room. And so they'll be looking, if they don't recognize your name, you don't get into the meeting. So it's things like that that we're trying to protect our folks as they use Zoom. So.
I see we have another question that I want to bring up. Some of you have been auditing classes at Cal State Fullerton, and Rich Zawilski is asking whether you'll be able to attend virtually Cal State Fullerton classes. This is something I'm not sure about right now, and it's on my agenda. I have a meeting next Monday with our extended education and international programs people who are our umbrella that oversee us on campus. I'm going to bring that question up because I know a lot of you would like to be able to participate in some of these classes. And oftentimes, if those of you who have participated in campus classes, you need to have an account on Titanium, which is their classroom management service. And OLLI members are able to do that, but you need to get permission from the instructor in order to audit. So I'll put that on some kind of a communication when I get that answer. And this will be for the summer session, which is not quite yet on board. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
I'm sure I speak for the 119 people still on. Thank you for all your work.
Well, it's not just me, Phil. It's a lot of other people on this.
Well, I have to thank Jim for at least getting me on the system.
Yeah. Phil, for those of you who don't know, Phil has been our poster child for the people who are screaming and kicking, getting into the 21st century. So if some of you are also in this category, hang in there. I don't want to say if Phil can do it, you can do it too, but he's our poster child.
Darn close, I can tell you.
Several of us that are in the music community within OLLI have been doing lots of research. We have attended courses through NAMS. We've had attended courses all over the place. What the major problem with doing music classes is that we have a latency issue. In other words, the sound will not allow you to have more than one sound at a time. And also the fact that they lag. We have a lag time also involved in it. So what has happened is that if you have the type of class that can go ahead and use Zoom, but not need to be a part of an assembly, then you're able to go ahead and proceed. And that's what ukulele is going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing that with my beginning recorder class. And I still do that with my group. So we use the tool to our benefit and deal with what the limitations are as far as Zoom is concerned, or any of the other software. Because when I attended the NAMS session, there were people from all over the world on that thing, and not one person offered anything that suggested that we could do it at the same time. What they normally do is they have each participant record themselves with the backup music so that they're all on a certain time limit, and then they have one person that basically consolidates it. So what you get is an orchestra sound, but it is basically well manipulated. So as far as music classes are concerned, that's what we need to deal with. And the instructors who have bravely come forward have decided that this is one of the ways or techniques that they want to do that. So our classical guitar class is one that's going to brave it. Again, the ukulele course and then my course. Tap dancing is going to brave it. So there are a number of them that, yeah, they could do it. But the larger courses like the band, you know, the jazz band and those other big groups, it just will not work for them unless they have an expert. And I don't know anybody yet.
Well, I think it's a limitation of the medium.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, if there are no more questions here, thank you all for attending our very first webinar. And these are virtual treats for you since we cannot take part of our ice cream social that we're going to have. Bob Newcomb emailed me this morning that he and Joanne were going to have a Klondike bar. I think Richard and I are going to have a root beer float. So all of you, thank you very much for attending. Keep the faith. We'll be back, and keep well and stay healthy. And we all want to see you back together again at OLLI. Bye-bye.